The time is finally upon us. We have been waiting a long time for this one. UFC 300 is upon us. And you know us, we can't help ourselves at these pay-per-views. We are going to be previewing and predicting every single fight on this card. All that and more coming up on the Fight Pit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day has finally come. We are here for the UFC 300 breakdown. But before we get into all of this wonderful violence we have ahead of us, we have to give a shout out to our sponsor, PillowFight.co. Blissfully soft and shockingly supportive. Their commitment to premium foams and fibers provides superior comfort, all while being soft enough to cradle you to sleep as if you were fighting anybody on the main card of UFC 300. They are worth every penny, and it is very important to invest in your rest. It's a 30-year life, baby. You got to make sure you take it seriously. They don't skimp on the details, neither should you. And Pillow Fight is obsessed with making a difference. Every purchase allows Pillow Fight to donate pillows where they are needed most. So visit pillowfight.co for more. Thank you again to Pillow Fight for sponsoring this episode. And it's time. Let's get to it.
Oh my God, it's finally here. It's finally here. Like, I feel so thrilled. Like, we're finally at 300. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
We made it.
Like, we know that, God, we know this card is loaded. There's the only thing you need to know about how loaded this card is that it's opening with Deiveson Figueiredo facing off against Cody No Love Garbrandt. That's the early prelim. That's the first early prelim. Like, that is ridiculous how utterly stacked this card is. I'm going to throw it right back to you, Drew, to break down this 135-pound matchup between a couple of former champions opening up the historic card that is UFC 300.
Oh my God, dude. This is stupid how fucking stacked this card is. The opening fight being Deiveson Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt not only speaks to how stacked this card is, but speaks to how stacked bantamweight is. You have two former champions, the first fight on UFC 300. And I mean, they're all outside the top five. Both of them, they're outside the top five in bantamweight. So, I mean, I don't even think that they might not even both be in the top 8 or so. This is just an insane, it's a gift. It's a gift for us to get to start with this one. Deiveson Figueiredo open as a minus 380, which I think is absolutely criminal. That's Cody Garbrandt plus 280. Right, like,
that's obscene.
I get
like,
it.
Money's coming in on Cody because now it's minus 340 for Deiveson and plus 270 for Cody. But like, the fact that it's still that long doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I understand, but at the same time, like, I think they're laying way too much into what Deiveson Figueiredo did in his last fight, and not enough into what Cody Garbrandt did in his last fight. Deiveson is 22-3-1. He's got 9 KOs, 8 submission wins, and 5 decision wins. Cody Garbrandt sitting at 14-5, 11 KOs, 3 decision wins. Something to note on this one is that Cody Garbrandt has a 3-inch height advantage. Deiveson Figueiredo has a 3-inch reach advantage. Deiveson Figueiredo with 3.8 significant strikes landed per minute. Cody Garbrandt 3.06 significant strikes landed per minute. So essentially, these guys are throwing and landing about the same. Cody Garbrandt is people, I think, lay a lot of stock into the losing streak he went on when he got to the championship and then went through the TJ Dillashaw, Pedro Munoz, Kai Kara France losses. Keep in mind, he still won one in that stretch, but it was a rough stretch. Not the worst we've ever seen, but certainly not something that we would like to see a champion like Cody Garbrandt go through. But Deiveson Figueiredo in his last 5 fights is 2-2-1. His 2 wins were by decision. His 2 losses were by finish, and 4 of those fights were against Brandon Moreno. So really doesn't tell us a whole lot about how he's going to fare at this one weight class up. I think him being a heavy hitter is something that people keep in the forefront, but I would classify him as a grappler. He does have some sick knockouts, but he's got, he has a very like outstanding grappling pedigree that he doesn't like get forced to use very often, so we don't see it as much. He has 9 KOs and 8 submissions, so he's finishing every which way. But I think that Figueiredo's key to this fight is going to be to grapple, because I think that Cody Garbrandt's best chance at winning this fight is going to be on the feet. I think it's going to be standing. I think it's going to be if it's a combo for combo type match. Garbrandt is a team alpha male guy. We know that his grappling is there. We know that his wrestling is there. He is, top of the tops as far as the ground game goes too. But I think that his best shot is going to be people underestimating him on the feet. Davis and Figueiredo underestimating him on the feet, thinking that they can coax him into a brawl and he's just going to, drop the hands and fly willy-nilly and end up getting caught. And that's not how I see it going. I think based on his last fight, his striking is crisp. He looks healthy. He's back to the old Cody. And I am going to go with Cody Garbrandt by a KO in this one. I'm going under 2.5. I know this one is going to be split. This one, and I would be surprised if it wasn't split. But I'm going with the man, no love, Dro love. You know how we do. I'm going with under 2.5, and I'm going by a KO.
Yeah, no, it's weird whenever we talk about lighter weight fights and we talk about going on the under on the rounds. This is one of those. This is going to be a finish. These guys bring heat, and they both come ready to throw down. Sean, who you got on this one?
I do agree. Minus 2.5 rounds, and everything Drew said was correct, except that he will fall into the brawl. That's just how Cody does it. He falls into the brawl. He's done it every time he ended up losing. He gets baited and he gets angry and he gets emotional and he does it. And that's where Davis and Figueiredo is going to knock him out and maybe even get his neck and submit him after knocking him to the ground. I'm going to go KO, TKO, second round, Davis and Figueiredo.
There it is. Gage, who you got?
I'm riding Sean's segue train here. I also have Davis and Figueiredo by submission in round 2, early round 2. So the under 1.5 is still good. I think it's just going to be early round 2.
Well, I see you both, and I raise you a Cody Garbrandt by a round 2 TKO because he is going to get drawn into the brawl, but he's going to win. He's going to crack Davis and Figueiredo's chin at the bigger weight class. I'm taking Cody Garbrandt on this one. Moving right along, because we have got to get through all of these fights. This card is loaded. We've got the fan fight on this card. This is the fight that everyone just looks at and is like, yes, this is going to be awesome. I'm talking, of course, about Bobby Green versus Jim fucking Miller. UFC 100, 200, and soon to be 300 fight veteran Jim fucking Miller. There is not a fight I'm probably more excited for on the early prelims than this one. I'm not going to condescend to y'all and try and talk down to you and explain who King Bobby Green or Jim Miller are. You know these people. You love these people. Of course, Bobby Green, we know his boxing. It is slick. It is fast. He has one of the most absurd significant strike landed per minute stats at 6.14. And he does do a very good job with accuracy as well, coming in at about 52%. No slouch on the ground either. He is no stranger to getting submissions. He has won by 9 submissions, 11 knockouts, 11 first round finishes. On the other side of it, Jim fucking Miller. 7 wins by knockout, 20 wins by submission, 15 first round finishes. The dude has been there, done that. He has seen it all, and we love him for it. Iron Chin, we know this, only been knocked out or TKO'd twice in his career, and one of the most nasty ground games that you will see in the 155-pound division. In this, I definitely see it going one of two ways. Bobby Green being able to keep it relatively standing, keep it a boxing match, and pick apart Jim Miller. I don't see him necessarily being able to put Jim Miller out. Might be a little bit of a bias for me. On the other side of it, Jim Miller's ways to win. He has got to get in there and go for the submission, make this dirty, try and get into a clinch situation, go for some trips, get some ground and pound in, and try and open up an opportunity to get a submission. That being said, I don't think either man gets a finish in this fight. This is definitely one. They are both so damn tough. I can absolutely see this going to the scorecards because Bobby Green only been submitted twice in his career, knocked out 5 times. And this has got going to the scorecards written all over it, and a little bit of dark horse fight of the night because these two are just going to come game. In this one, I am going to be going with Bobby Green. I think his boxing is just too damn good. He is too slick. And we say it a lot, every round starts on the feet, and I think that is going to be in Bobby Green's favor. Drew, who do you got on this one?
This one, it's difficult to choose, as are most of these, because there's a route to victory for every single fighter on this card. Some of these are a little bit more of a distance in the odds, but honestly, I think the majority of these fights, if not all of them, could have been pick'ems as far as the odds go, because it's so damn tough. I like the Bobby Green pick on this one. I am going to split it and go Jim Miller just because I think his resurgence is something that is very rare. We see guys that tend to put it all together the older that they get, guys like Randy Couture, Dan Henderson. And it's, like I said, rare, but it does happen. There are some outliers. There are guys, and Jim Miller is obviously one of them. And I just think it would be the coolest thing ever for him to go out as the only man to win on 100, 200, and 300. So I'm going to go with Jim Miller. I'm going to stick with the over 1.5 too. But I think if Bobby Green gets it done, I think he gets it done under 1.5. But I am going to go with Jim Miller. I'm going to go by submission. I'm going to go over 1.5.
There it is. There it is. Sean, who you got for this one?
I think the speed of Bobby Green is going to just pick him apart from the outside. But I do think in one of the rounds, it's going to be a close one. It'll be a 29-28 because I do think Miller's going to get takedown and even could do real damage in that round. And if that's early, he could win that fight. But if that, it might be the third round, which means Bobby Green just has to stay alive. I'd say decision 29-28. But I would like to see if it is a decision or if Miller wins, I would like to see him lay down his gloves at the end of this fight. What's a better spot than fighting at 100, 200, and 300 and laying down the gloves? He ain't fighting till 47 years old to see UFC 400. This would be a really cool moment to do it.
God, I hope not.
Dude, this would be beautiful. And then then when UFC 400 rolls around, you obviously get Jim Miller on the commentary team for that. Like, you have to at that point. I love it. Gage, who you got for this one?
I'm going to give you guys a little bit of sprinkle of everything that you all said already. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Y'all already broke down weak points, keys to victory, and everything. I'm going to go over 1.5. I think is definitely the move here, betting-wise. I think if Bobby Green or Jim Miller are going to finish this fight, it's going to be late in the fight. Both of these men combined have over 100 fights, 100 professional fights. Both of these men combined. 101 professional fights between these two men. 47 for Bobby Green, 54 for Jim Miller. 54 professional fights. That being said, I think it's going to go to decision. It's going to go to the cards. It's going to go to distance. I think it's going to be a heck of a fight. I think Jim Miller does get it to the ground. He's going to get a lot of points. I'm going to go split decision, 29-28, Jim Miller.
I love it. And I honestly, even though I picked Bobby Green, I really want Jim Miller to do this. And you gotta sprinkle some Jim Miller plus odds whenever
You
you
can't
get the
not.
opportunity. You've got to take that. Now we've got some odds that are dead even. They have been locked neck and neck pretty much the entire time. I'm talking, of course, about number 4 ranked Jessica Andrade and number 6 ranked Marina Rodriguez. Now, Sean, break down this women's strawweight fight for us, brother.
All right. Jessica Andrade is 25-12. She has the most women UFC fights in history. She has, I think, one, or this will be her second fight over Amanda Nunes, that second place on it. So she's just going to make that gap bigger and bigger. Don't look at that 12 losses and be like, oh, she's just fighting anyone. She loses some. No, they're all to champions. Legitimately, she only loses to the best of the best or soon to be champions.
It's wild.
And then, yeah, Marina Rodriguez, 17-3-2. Another one, if you look at her fights, she's fought some absolute beasts too. Like, their strength to schedules are amazing. Jessica Andrade, 5'1", Marina, 5'6", a 3-inch reach advantage for Marina. You have a total of 16 KOs in 9 subs and 15 first-round finishes between these ladies. So there's a reason they're on this card. They get the job done. They don't like this decision shit. Last fight for Jessica Andrade was she beat the crap out of Mackenzie Dern. And let's be honest, after that fight, we have to say the most underrated woman fighter in the UFC currently is Jessica Andrade. People just look right past her, and I think they're looking right past her again on this one. And I'll explain why in a second. If you see the strengths, you have the power, the strength, great boxer, good grappler for Jessica Andrade. But Marina Rodriguez, she's mostly on the feet also, and her grappling is very minimal. And she gets in trouble when she's on the ground. You could point her up or even finish her on the ground, and that's her big weakness. Other than her chin is hittable. If you ever watch her and someone's pushing at her, which Jessica Andrade will be doing, will be in her face, she does what Volkanovski did against Ilia Topuria. Put her hands up and leaned her head back. And that's where I think the issue is going to be. You got to get your hands up, move. But I think that's where we're going to have Jessica Andrade get a first-round KO over Marina Rodriguez.
There it is, first round knockout. And I kind of like it. This is going to be, I mean, you broke it down beautifully. These two fighters are finishers. Like 15 first round finishes. Both have unbelievable power in their hands. We know Jessica Andrade is a beast in the submission game as well. Drew, who you got for this one?
Once again, we are going split on this one. I like Marina Rodriguez, but not for lack of loving Jessica Andrade and everything that she's done and everything that she brings to the cage every single time that she steps in. There's never, it doesn't matter who you put across from her, never a boring Jessica Andrade fight. Even if she's getting dominated, she's never out of it. We always give her a chance. No matter what the case, no matter where the fight is, no matter who it's against. That being said, though, Marina Rodriguez has been my dark horse pick for future champion of this division for many, many years. I've been a fan of hers since before anybody even knew her, before she was doing the UFC, before she had her win streaks, before she was a name at all. And she's one of those fighters that I think can on any given night finish anybody, dig out a win against anybody. She's very technically sound on the feet. She does have the tendency to go straight back when she's being pressured, and that is something that I do think could be her demise if Andrade is able to close that distance. Marina Rodriguez, though, is longer and taller than most of the girls in this division, and she does use her distance management very well. I'm going with Marina Rodriguez on this one. I think it's going to be a decision, but I am 1000% expecting an absolute slugfest on the feet. It's going to be Marina Rodriguez trying to evade the brawl and counter and outstrike her technically. And Andrade is going to be looking to, while she is technical, she also carries way more power than most of the division. And at times you get away with being able to just, Robbie Lawler style, put hands in their face, whether it looks pretty or not, you get the job done. So this one's going to be an exciting striking battle. I'm going with Marina Rodriguez, but again, not surprised at any way that any of these picks go. If it's Andrade, it's not going to surprise me one bit.
Definitely not. And that's the nice thing about this card, man. There's so many fights on here that are just like, I have no idea who it's gonna win. I'm gonna be
hardest card to call ever.
It's gonna be a great fight. Like, there's long odds on 2 fights that deserve it. The rest of them, I'm like, those are long odds for these 2. Like, even if it's plus 200, I'm like, you can't be that certain. Gage, who you got for this one?
It's gonna be a close, real close. I think it really is a pick 'em who you just like more, honestly. I think Jessica Andrade has been through the gauntlet, has a lot of experience, and I think it's gonna carry her through. She's fought the best of the best, has got to toe with Amanda Nunes multiple times, and has a lot of power behind her. A very, very solid woman in the division. But as much as we give her power and everything, it's her ground game I think is really going to take full effect here, because she's a very, very good wrestler and will get you to the ground. I think she does win getting her to the ground and won't submit her, but I think it's going to be ground and pound for the win. Second round, Jessica Andrade.
There you go. I gotta keep on making us an even 50-50 because I'm going with Marina Rodriguez. And the big reason that I am is because, Drew, you mentioned it, is that reach advantage and the fact that Jessica Andrade will have to close the distance to initiate that brawl. And that, 5.36 significant strikes absorbed per minute for Jessica Andrade is a big number. And I think Marina Rodriguez is going to be able to use that to her advantage. I think she's going to be able to slow Jessica Andrade down at least enough to survive the first round with her. And I think she's going to be able to get this to a decision and win it 29-28. So I am going with Marina Rodriguez on this one. And holy shit, this is the closer for the early prelims that we're about to do. And it's insane that I'm even saying that because we've talked about 3 former champions already. So I'm just going to throw it right to Gage, and he's going to tell me about the 155-pound action between Jalen Turner and Renato Moicano that's closing out the early prelims. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's a wild thing to say that Jalen Turner is on the early prelims. After
number 10 and number 13 in the world are on the early prelims.
Especially after he just knocked out Bobby Green in his last fight in the first round. Wild. That's how stacked we are. That's how blessed we are. Shout out to Max and Sean in the right hand corner right now. It's so hard to tell. I didn't look at the odds right now. I think Jalen Turner is the favorite, if I remember correctly. Plus 240, I think.
Yeah, let me look. He's
minus
currently sitting around. Oh shoot, where is it? They're gone now. They opened around minus 220 for Jalen Turner and plus 180 for Renato Moicano.
Renato Moicano, it's wild that he's opening as an underdog. It speaks a lot to Jalen Turner because the last fights he's had. I think the last one he lost was Rafael Dos Anjos in 2022. He did fight last year, if I recall correctly. His one fight did get canceled against Arman Sarukian. So he's taking a year off, but did fight in February. He did fight in February. That is a very quick turnaround. So I don't like that. Yes, he fought Drew Dober. Cool. But
went to the judges with Drew Dober.
Went to the cards, and he outclassed Drew Dober by a mile. But I'm not a big Drew Dober guy. But Jalen Turner is a real threat. And I relish his power, even though he's, the tarantula, can get it done on the ground and do everything he needs if he gets taken down. But he also outboxed Bobby Green.
He's a
outboxed Bobby Green. So I think Jalen Turner is really sharpening his tools. He's 28 years old, has a 5-inch reach advantage in this, and I gotta give it to Jalen Turner all day. I think it's gonna be another quick outing for him. I'm gonna go under 1.5, TKO, KO, Jalen Turner. Like nothing against Moicano, but Jalen Turner really is that dude.
No, and I feel like he's on this card because he's due for a coming out party, and this is
Don't let his record of 14-7 fool you either. Like, don't let that 7 throw you off.
no.
His losses
The
are
dude is legit.
Marcus Gamrot, Dan Hooker, and like that's fine. The like rejuvenated Dan Hooker too, and then you have to go back until 2019 for his last loss. Besides those guys.
Yeah, no. Jalen Turner, I can't speak highly enough of him. He's just dangerous, like you said, man. Drew, who do you got for this one?
This I'm going with. I'm sticking with Gage on this one. I got Jalen Turner. I think that he is just going to be too dangerous for Renato Moicano. I am a Drew Dober guy, and I was not impressed with Moicano in that one, even though it was a dominant decision. I feel like he spent a lot of the time just trying to maintain top control in that one, which is very impressive to do against someone like Drew Dober, who's a very dangerous guy himself. But I think Jalen Turner is just too dangerous on the feet. I think that if Renato Moicano comes in against Jalen Turner trying to do what he did against Drew Dober and evade the striking in favor of getting it to the ground and maintaining top position, I think it's going to be a quick night. I think Jalen Turner, especially with what he did to Bobby Green, oh my God, that was brutal.
Class boxing against Bobby Green.
Man, and to your note too, with being the tarantula, it's a perfect. You guys remember Kevin Durant? People used to call him the Durantula just because of how long and just and it's totally fitting because he's. You would swear looking at any of his fights that he has a 1.5 foot reach advantage on everybody. It's insane. Also, something to note too, the current odds for this fight have Jalen Turner at a -250. Moicano is at a +205. So I think a lot of people saw what me and Gage saw too. I'm going with Turner. I'm gonna go with under 2 rounds, first or second round TKO.
There you have it. Sean, who you got for this one?
I'm not going to change it up on you guys. We have a shot at going unanimous on one pick this evening. Maybe we'll see what Kyle does up here.
I might pull some shit.
I'm going first round TKO KO. Renato, like he's another one that he puts his chin up. He is hittable, and that's a problem.
Also, Jalen Turner can fend off takedowns.
Yep.
He's a very strong man and like long too. Like it's hard to take him down.
But Gamrot, he got up 5 times versus Gamrot, and Gamrot's a phenomenal grappler, ground and pound.
He's also Matus is also a larger man in the cage than Moicano too on fight night.
Yeah. And he dominated. Turner dominated that first round too. He almost finished him, and I don't think Renato is going to be able to withstand that. That first round beating Jalen Turner gives to everyone that steps in a cage to him is insane. Dan Hooker may have won the battle. He did not win the war. Broken arm, broken face. Jalen Turner actually got depressed after the fight because what he did to him, and he couldn't go home for about 3 months because he got surgery in America to go see his family. So he felt bad for Dan Hooker and everything, and he's like, I should have never done that fight. It's like, so Turner's an absolute animal, and your only option is to lay on him and hope for the best, which that won't happen. First round, KO, TKO, Jalen Turner.
No, it will not happen. Now with a 76% takedown defense off of Jalen Turner, his submission average and knockdown average are identical at 1.23. So, like, no matter where you take it, he is dangerous, and he is such a freaking weapon on the feet. We are unanimous on this one. I've got Jalen Turner by a first-round TKO. It is not going to be good for Renato Moicano, especially, like you said, if he tries to do the same strategy that he pulled against Drew Dober. That's not a good recipe up against Jalen Turner. And now we are moving right along to the prelims. We have got Sadiq Youssef taking on Diego Lopes at 145. Number 13 ranked Sadiq Youssef, and Diego Lopes, of course, trying to crack into that ranked contendership once again. Drew, break this one down for us, brother. 145.
I shall, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this fight. Also, this one is. Is there anybody that is not a Diego Lopes fan? I've yet to meet anybody that does not like this dude. Everything about him is fun. He's action packed. He's got the emo-over that makes the waves, just meme material all day long. He's the coolest dude. Sponsored by Represent. I mean, that's all you need. That's all you need. Super Sadiq Youssef, though. Seeing Sadiq Youssef open as an underdog is a rarity. That's something that you're not going to see very often. He's 13-3, going up against Diego Lopes, 23-6. Sadiq Youssef has 6 KOs, 1 submission win, and 6 decision wins against Diego's 9 KOs, 12 submissions, and 2 decisions. Anytime anybody has double-digit submission wins, that's something that you have to take into account. In their last 5, Sadiq Youssef is 3-2. All but one of those went to a decision. And in Diego Lopes' last 5, he's 4-1, and all 4 of those wins were by a finish. We got Sadiq Youssef with a 5.72 significant strikes landed per minute against Diego Lopes' 2.47 significant strikes landed per minute, which is something that you need to be mindful of. That tells me that this is going to be a striker versus grappler match. Diego Lopes' best bet is to get it to the ground. I think that's what his game plan is going to be. He does have a 57.99 significant striking accuracy. So when he does throw, most of the time he's going to land. Both of them sitting around just over 50% landing accuracy, which is, it's going to make for an exciting start to the fight. But I think the longer the fight goes, the more it's going to be dependent on Diego Lopes getting it to the ground, which he's been able to do. He has 5.29 submissions averaged per fight. This one, Diego Lopes opened as a -130, and they are currently he's at a -125. Sadiq Youssef has moved up to a +105. So we've got some money coming in on Sadiq Youssef. Like I said, it's having him as plus money is something that you can't ever pass up on. You got to sprinkle a little bit on Sadiq Youssef, and you got to sprinkle on some hands being thrown and getting it done on Sadiq's side. But I'm going to go with Diego Lopes. I'm going to go with a submission. I'm going to go under 2.5 rounds. And that's, like I said, man, this we cannot say it enough. I know it's a broken record, but I'm not going to be surprised at all if Sadiq Youssef, if all of my picks are wrong on this one, I will not be surprised at all. Not one bit. But I'm going with Lopes. I'm going with Diego, the emo over Lopes, and I'm going by submission under 2.5.
There you have it. I like it. I like it a lot. The interesting thing in this fight to me is, will Diego Lopes shoot? Because I didn't really, this still isn't registering with me. He has attempted 1 takedown in the UFC so far, and he hasn't fought a whole lot yet. But on the other side of it, it's like Sadiq Youssef is probably not going to be shooting for takedowns in this situation. He knows who he's going up against in a submission guy in Diego Lopes. So it's going to be interesting to see how it gets to the ground, because, yeah, I don't know. I still don't know who I'm going with on this one. I'm gonna see if Gage can bring me some clarity.
You know what the funny part about that is? Yes, he has not shot in the UFC, but he does have a submission win. on the ground because he got taken down and then had 3 submissions attempts off getting taken down before he submit Gavin Tucker, which is wild. I haven't seen enough of him, which is wild, besides the Evelev fight, but I hate how Evelev fights. I hate watching those fights. So I didn't watch that one.
Thank you.
I didn't watch it. I'm
Trash.
not gonna lie.
Can't stand that dude.
I'm looking at the numbers and okay, cool. He got out volumed at everything, got taken down. Cool. But I would be hard pressed if he doesn't try to shoot against Sadiq. I would be hard pressed. I would be very surprised because I think Sadiq was a little more dangerous on the feet for Diego. But I think Diego has a great advantage on the ground. So I want to see him set up. He's probably going to stay on the feet a little bit, measure him out, change levels. Got to change levels on Sadiq, make him think about it, and just get probably a little slick trip off the cage in a clinch, get him to the ground, start working towards the center of the cage. Really just kind of game plan it there. I think this one does go to the cards. I do. And I'm going to go Diego. 29-28. Unanimous 29-28 Diego.
There it is, across the board. No split decision here. Sean, who you got for this one?
If you've watched Sadiq's last fight against Edson Barbosa, you know his gas tank shoots down immediately. He is a first rounder bust. He almost put Barbosa out, and then afterwards, Barbosa, if you've seen anything in his career, that man can just keep going. He could take it rocky damage. It's insane. Yeah, that man could take damage, and then he comes alive. And for the next 4 rounds, Barbosa dominated that fight. If this fight makes out of the first round, Diego Lopez will win by decision, TKO, submission, whatever the fuck he wants. So Sadiq needs to get it done in the first round, but I'm actually going to go the opposite. This is an aggressive card. This is a crazy card. We want finishes and aggressive picks. I'm actually going to say Diego Lopez is going to get a first round submission because he has 29 fights and 14 first round finishes at a lighter weight class. The only time you hear a 50% clip of a first round finish is heavyweight. This man's doing it at featherweight. So I'm going to say he's going to be a perfect 30 fights, 15 first round finishes, first round submission, Diego Lopez.
I like it. I'm going with Lopez too. It's just, like you said, the gas tank is such a huge red flag for me with Sadiq Youssef. And I'm sorry, but he is such a headhunter, does not really mix it up to the body a whole lot. He'll throw some leg kicks occasionally, but it's really easy. There's a really easy world where Diego Lopez can, realistically stay on the outside when he wants to, change levels, get him thinking about it, disrupt the rhythm of Sadiq Youssef striking, and just gas him out, drag him down, get him to deep waters, and win by decision. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with Diego Lopez by a decision. Now, moving right along, we have got a long-awaited debut. We have got Kayla Harrison taking on Holly Holm. Gage, talk to me about this one. This one rocks.
I mean, I would love to see this fight if Holly Holm was 7 years ago. Holly Holm, that would have been a real cool fight.
Yeah.
But that being said, Holly Holm is still fighting at a very high caliber for 42. Still winning. Got her last fight overturned to a draw. Still putting out great fights. Still standing. Her kicks are still just as hard. Will put you out all the same. But the hype around Kayla Harrison is for a reason. She could go any way on the mat, stand up. I think she's really gotta avoid Holly's leg kicks, head kicks. I think her game plan is just to chop her down, and then take down defense for Holly, keep it standing. The highest level kickboxer on Holly Holm. It's where she's comfortable. She wants it. Kayla Harrison is not going to let it get comfortable. She's not going to let it happen. I think she closes the distance on her. I think she will get Holly down and just wear her into the ground. And I think it does go to cards. I don't think Kayla puts out Holly. I'd be really surprised if she does. But I would sprinkle submission Kayla Harris over over 1.5. I would sprinkle that in. But I do think it's going to go to cards. It'll be a good banger, but I think it's going to be a little messy in the cage. So
Yeah, no,
official Kayla Harrison decision. Official.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see. And like you said, this would have been interesting 6-7 years ago. But even then, like Holly Holm, like you said, fighting at a very high level. She's no slouch. There's a reason she is still the 5th ranked bantamweight in the world. Drew, who do you got for this one?
This one, once again, Gage nailed it. It's one of those ones where, it's not a bad matchup at all. It's one that we would love. It's a dream fight for the women's division. It's one of those, super fights that you could put together. If Holly Holm was in, championship form, if she was even back prior, after her championship form, when she was putting out Betch Kahea and she did not look bad later on. She's just one of those ones that's, she's been consistent, but she gets fights that are winnable fights for her, but she just doesn't win. And they're not, she's had very few bad showings in her career. So it's difficult to say that she's going to get finished. She's another one of those fighters where age is not a factor. She's still running and gunning. She's still fighting the best in the world. She's still in the UFC. If there was any reason for her to not be in the UFC, she wouldn't be. She's one of those ones. She's a fan favorite. She's a company favorite. If she wasn't meant to be there, if she was going to be outclassed by everybody, if she wasn't going to be able to be competitive, she wouldn't still be here doing this, and she wouldn't be on the biggest card possibly of all time. So I think that she's got a chance. She does have a 3-inch reach advantage. She fights from a southpaw stance. It's going to be a lot of movement on her part. She's going to be looking to stick and move, and she's got a 50% significant strike accuracy. So about half of the strikes that she throws is going to land. She only has a 30% takedown accuracy. So if there's one thing that you would bet on this, it's that Holly Holm is not going to want to go to the ground on this one in any way, shape, or form. The ground game does not favor her at all. There's no way that even if she does shoot for a takedown and get it, I think that maybe she would do that just to keep Kayla Harrison on her feet and not be as predictable with the striking as we would expect. But I'm going with Kayla Harrison, and I'm going to say unanimous decision as well.
There you go. Round us out, Sean.
The biggest question with this fight is how the fuck does Kayla Harrison make 135? She Olympics 172
Facts.
pounds. The lightest she ever fought at PFL was 145.9 pounds, and she begged for a 155 division, and she got it, and she was super dominant. Her ground game is insane. So if she makes 135, first her head's going to be more vulnerable because the lack of the dehydration and everything like that's a factor. But if she makes that, she is the most muscular woman and the strongest woman that will have ever been in the UFC. She makes Ronda Rousey look small. You name one, they're small compared to her. She will ragdoll the fuck out of Holly Holm and finish her extremely quickly. It will be a statement saying, I am the baddest woman in the UFC. We got a new superstar. So I'm going to say first round finish. I'm going to probably go ground and pound.
Ooh, there it is. I'm having a hard time disagreeing with you because I am going with Kayla Harrison. The only difference is I'm going with a submission on this one. Like you said, I think that Kayla Harrison wants to make a statement saying I belong here. I did not just come from some B-League promotion and it's not hype for no reason. Like, the hype is absolutely real with Kayla Harrison. She is dominant in the grappling department. There's no question about it. I'm going to we're unanimous on this one. I'm gonna lock us in. It's pretty much unanimous. Okay, that's 2.
Yep,
That's
we
2.
all got Harrison.
Let's see if we
That's
can keep it rolling.
That's actually 3 in a row. Turner, Lopes, and Harrison, all unanimous.
Oh, this is getting dangerous now. Now, shit. Now it's
Wow.
getting dangerous. Woo! We've got some 145-pound action to talk about. We got Calvin Kattar taking on Aljamain Sterling, the former bantamweight champion of the world. Sean, talk to me about this matchup. This one rocks.
I've been arguing with myself all day on who I'm picking. I got all the stats down. I've looked at everything. And Kattar's basically this story. I'll give you the record real quick. 23-7 for Calvin Kattar. For Aljamain Sterling, 23-4. Obviously, Sterling has the championship experience, the championship fights, but at a lower weight class. Calvin Kattar has the height advantage by 4 inches and only has a 1-inch reach advantage. Aljamain Sterling is a very long individual. But we saw him have an issue with Sean O'Malley that was also 5'11" and a striker. Is Calvin Kattar Sean O'Malley? No, not on the feet. But is he still a damn good striker and has power because of his size? Yes. Calvin Kattar hasn't fought since 2022. Did not fight in 2023. I'm okay with that when you get knocked out. His last fight was a knockout. So I'm totally cool with you taking a year off. That's what we want with Volkanovski. That was a smart move. I think his chin will be fine. And honestly, Aljamain Sterling doesn't knock out people. He only has 3 knockouts in his career, the 8 submissions. He is the backpack. His plan, the whole game, is to get that back, smother you, ground and pound, throw the submissions up. If he gets it, he gets it. If not, he is going to dominate you for 3 rounds. And that's the issue. Kattar has pretty good takedown defense. But in 145, there's not really a lot of grapplers. There's like 3 good grapplers. 2 of them being phenomenal, but there's 3 good grapplers in 145. The rest of it is a lot of stand-up guys. Aljamain Sterling, I don't know if this weight's going to be an issue, but he was also a massive 135er. I'm going to give it the faith because I think people underestimate that title run he had. People underappreciate it. Since the knee that knocked him out. This is more of a pick out of strictly, I like Aljamain Sterling and I want him to do really well. So I want Aljamain Sterling to win it by decision, 30-27, backpack it all day. That is my pick.
There you have it. Drew, who you got for this one?
I am gonna go the same exact route as Sean over there. I think changing weight classes is gonna fare well for Sterling. I think that he was, top of the class in the last weight class. It's justified that he jumps to the top of the class in a new weight class. And I think that his style has just, progressed to a point where it can be considered a dominant style. He's one of those guys whose grappling is top notch. I think that if Kattar is healthy and if Kattar is looking top notch and if he's able to, if he was working just with top grapplers on his takedown defense, if he's able to avoid the takedown, I think that he is able to easily outstrike Aljamain Sterling and either win on points if it's not a TKO. Again, that's another one where I'm going with Sterling, but if Kattar gets it done, I'm not going to be surprised one bit. But I think that Sterling is going to utilize a size advantage. I think that he's going to be the bigger dude. I think that people underestimate how big he actually is. When you see him, there was just a video with like him, O'Malley, and Merab or something like that, and he's gigantic, man. He's so like filled out. He's beastly. And I think that not having to make that weight cut is going to fare well for him. So I'm going with Sterling. I'm going by I'm going to say a rear naked choke.
RNC, there it is. Gage, who you got?
I got to support the fellow New Yorker in Aljo. Got to do it. Shout out Queens. Even though I'm from the X, but you gotta support the city when you can. Sean already said it. It's wild how slept on he was for that title run because of the Jan knee And that's a true competitor, if anyone watched it and how he reacted to that, like clearly did not want to win that way. Clearly wanted to continue the fight. Got told no because he clearly wasn't all there from the knee. Like that knee is putting out me easy in a second, and probably everyone else in this chat. I don't know about Drew. Drew might eat that though.
I got knocked out just watching it.
All right, so we're all getting put out. The fact that he didn't get put out by that is also wild. Talking about stuff years ago, but like that's just he's a tough dude. Also, don't know how he made the cut to 135 all these times. Credit to him, because that's a tough cut. The dude is solid muscle, and his striking's very good. He can stand and bang with the best of them, but he'll play to his strengths. Calvin Kattar has great striking. Calvin Kattar's not as good on the ground. Aljo will just wear him out. Aljo has the gas tank for days. He's been fighting championship rounds for years. And little flowers to Calvin Kattar. If you judge him based on his last two fights, especially the Max Holloway fight, he fought Max Holloway. Like Calvin Kattar is not a slouch by any means, not a can, as we like to say on the fight pit. Dude's a legit fight, like a very, very good fighter at 145. And he shouldn't be getting shade because he fights very tough opponents.
No, he does. Like we talk about all the time, strength of schedule. There is not a more stacked strength of schedule in the 145-pound division than Calvin Kattar. And that is why we are not going to be unanimous on a fight on the prelims. Finally got to one. I'm going with Calvin Kattar on this one. I think the 91% takedown defense, man. Calvin Kattar is going to be able to keep it standing as much as he wants, and his significant strikes landed at 5.12 is ridiculous. And the fact that he takes a lot of shots, I don't think is necessarily going to be as big of an issue against Aljamain Sterling. Now, Aljamain Sterling still has great boxing. That is why I think it's going to go to the cards. Don't see Calvin Kattar being able to put out Aljamain Sterling, like y'all said. This move up in weight is definitely going to be good for him, but I think Calvin Kattar is just going to be too much. His boxing is going to get it done, and that 91% takedown defense, can't pick against it. I am going with Calvin Kattar on this one. And now, closing out our prelims, we have Jiri Prochazka, former champion of the 205-pound division, taking on Alexander Rakic. And this one,
wow,
closing out the prelims.
Closing out
what the fuck?
Wild.
How?
It is insane. Jiri Prochazka, 29-4-1 with 25 knockouts, 23 first-round finishes. You heard me correctly. Going up against Alexander Rakic at 14-3, 9 knockouts, 1 submission. This is heaven. This is a great matchup. And
this is honestly a video game card, dude.
It's absurd. And like this honestly is why I have so much massive respect for Jiri Prochazka, because he will fight anybody. This is a dangerous fight for Jiri. It absolutely is, because of the power on the other side from Alexander Rakic. Jiri Prochazka will take shots. He has shown it. His significant strikes landed and significant strikes absorbed are virtually identical. And against Alexander Rakic, he's got power. He is not going to let you just take one for free. Like, you're going to feel the punches coming on the other side from Alexander Rakic. That being said, I can't ignore 25 knockouts and the championship pedigree that comes with Jiri Prochazka's resume. On the other side of it, Alexander Rakic has struggled against higher level competition. This is a huge step up in competition after significant time off, did not fight in 2023, and coming off of a loss to Jan Blachowicz. I'm going with Jiri Prochazka on this one, and I've got to go with the finish. First round knockout, because that's what Jiri Prochazka loves to do. Drew, who is walking out with the win in this light heavyweight matchup?
I am taking Jiri as well, man. I think that, Rakic's showings against the higher level competition has been a tad suspect. I think that Jiri Prochazka, coming in off of that injury against Pereira for the vacant title, was as tough of a return fight as you could possibly get. And I don't think that ended the way that he wanted to. Obviously, I don't think that was the result any of us were expecting. Not that, we didn't expect Pereira to get a knockout, but I think that just the manner in which it came was a bit of a surprise. Seeing him just, kind of drop in the clinch like that. I don't think that Yuri Prochazka was able to show his best stuff. I don't think that was what he was. I don't think that he was back in top form for that fight. I would have liked to see Yuri Prochazka get this fight and then fight somebody like Pereira for the belt. But as relinquishing the belt as the champion, it's only justified that you get the title shot when you come back. But with that being said, I think that Prochazka is back to full form in this one. I think that he's now has an even bigger chip on his shoulder. I think that he is going to be unorthodox as hell. He's going to be crazy. Rakic is not ready for it. And I think that Prochazka is going to get the TKO.
No, and like you said, like the unorthodox element that Prochazka brings to the table, I think is absolutely going to throw off Alexander Rakic. Like, is it
how do you
Rakic
train
or
for that? You can't train for that.
No, you can't.
Drew,
Like,
what round? What round?
How do you emulate Jiri Prochazka? You don't.
I'm gonna say under 1.5. If it makes it to the second, it's gonna be quick in the second.
I like it. Sean, who you got for this one?
You guys made great points with Rakic versus higher level opponents, and then Yuri just came back and fought Alex Pereira that's been fighting nonstop since he's been out of working on vehicles. Like, he was a damn mechanic, and then after that he decides to go on 11 professional fights in a matter of 3 years, and wins belts and shit like that. So very hard fight to take on short notice, like basically off of an injury. You're basically just training, and there you go, here's Alex Pereira. Yuri's going to be better, and I feel sick to my stomach saying a decision last fight. I've been saying I'm going to be aggressive with all my picks. We're getting back to being aggressive. Yuri Prochazka, first round KO. Go to sleep, Alexander.
There it is. Gage, round us out. Are we unanimous?
Oh yeah, we are.
Yes.
Yuri is a nut in the most lovable way. Like,
Easy.
certified Polish samurai in the woods doing the weirdest shit possible. And you love it. You love to watch it. Love every second of watching it. He's also one of the best fighters in the octagon, pretty much any given night. He came back from a really rough injury, like, especially to come back and then be like, hey, here's this Aztec warrior, good luck.
How's that for your tune-up fight?
Yeah. Let's get you back in there for the belt, huh, buddy? After you just came off a serious ass injury and you spent like a year rehabbing. Let's give you this guy who's been like putting out people left and right. Cool. Yeah, Rakic, again, no slouch, but he doesn't perform when he needs to in big moments. And Yuri is his biggest moment by far. It's not even close. And Yuri, this is just another day in the office for Yuri. I really do think that. And Yuri's going to come out firing because he's, as someone said, I forgot who, I think it was Drew, he's got a chip on his shoulder like no other right now. Like no other. That's why he came back healthy. He's just training camp right away and was like, nah, I'm going to be back in the ring immediately. He's going to absolutely dust Alexander Rakic's jaw. Like, turn it to dust. First round. First
round. Let's go. I like it.
Totally
I like
agree.
it a lot.
And just so everybody is clear and can get in on it quickly, Yuri Prochazka is currently sitting at a plus 115.
He's
insane.
the underdog.
That's
Jesus Christ.
That's our
Hammering.
first that's our
Hammering.
first
Underdog
unanimous
parlay
dog
short
pick.
coming soon.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for the parlay short. Moving right along, we
Yeah.
have got to get to this main card. Unfortunately, it is being kicked off by a 185-pound matchup between Bo Nickal and Cody Brundage. Now, Drew, A lot of people saying this fight should not be on the main card. It is indeed on the main card because of Bo Nickel. There's no other way around it. Bo Nickel is the reason this fight is on the main card. Break this one down for us at 185.
This one, speaking of odds, not only is them being on the main card crazy as hell, but Bo Nickel open at a plus 3,500. Plus 3,500 is minus 3,500. Yes, thank you for correcting that. To the point where these sports books, not all of them, but the ones in Nevada, William Hill, Caesars, they don't even have this fight listed at the moment. It's not even worth taking money for them. Very rarely do we see that happen. And, it might open up later on, so keep an eye out for it. They do, there are method of victory bets and rounds over under bets, time bets, fight time bets, things like that you can bet on. But to have a fight not even be listed on the Caesars Sportsbook is redonkulous, man. And so Bo Nickel is undefeated. He's 5-0. He's got 2 KOs, 3 subs. All of his fights are finishes. Cody Brundage, 10 wins, 5 losses. He has 5 KOs, 3 submissions, and 1 decision win. He is 2-3 in his last 5. Those 2 wins were by KO and by disqualification. He caught an illegal elbow, I believe it was. Bo Nickel has Malkoon, that's right. And Bo Nickel is 6'1". He has against Cody Brundage 6 feet. He's got a 1-inch height advantage, and he has a 4-inch reach advantage. He does have a 65% significant strike accuracy. He has an 11.4 takedown average and a 13.80 submission average. So there's just no avenue for Cody Brundage to look at and say, that's how I win this fight. It's very unfortunate for Cody Brundage, but that's how it goes with these guys. Credit to Cody Brundage for stepping up and taking the fight. I'm sure that it was offered to a lot of people, and most of the people who saw Bo Nickel's name come across the desk are like, nah, I'm not gonna. I'll let somebody else take that minus 3,500 fight. I'm not. But to Cody Brundage's credit, he does have a 66% significant strike accuracy. However, that is on a 1.80 significant strikes landed per minute. So doesn't throw very often, lands when he does throw, but does not throw very often, does not land nearly as much as the rest of the middleweight division. This is probably the easiest one to pick on the card. It's never a bad idea to sprinkle on underdogs that are this fucking ridiculous. If it's even an option by the time the fight card kicks off. Anything could happen. We just saw Chris Weidman get a decision win off of a TKO last weekend. So
hold on, decision win. Yeah,
anything could happen. Anything could happen. But
you hit him with the old Mo and Larry.
Yeah.
Bro.
That's
I'm not talking Chris Weidman. I do like Chris Weidman. He's been in the game for a long time. Had some real rough stretches with his leg and everything.
Right,
dude. Come on, not even like
just a weird fight.
Like nothing.
Just a weird fight. Chris Weidman's nickname is gonna be Curly after. But this one, no surprise. I'm going with Bo Nickel. I'm going with a finish. It's gonna be a finish. I can't decide whether it's gonna be a sub or a KO. It depends on where Cody Brundage ends up at the end of the fight. If he's able to stay on the feet, it's gonna be a knockout. If he shoots or if he gets knocked down, it's gonna be a submission. It's all up in the air. But I'm going with Bo Nickel. I'm going with under 1.5, and I'm going by finish.
Absolutely, Sean. How is Bo Nickel winning?
By murder. I don't know. Like legitimate. It's ridiculous. Bo Nickel can knock him out. He can He's a 3-time NCAA champion wrestler, and he can obviously ground and pound. The first time he went into a BJJ place, he submitted everyone. The story about him submitting everyone, and just every black belt there was, and he's never done BJJ in a day of his life. Just his wrestling background. It doesn't matter what happens. Cody has to drive and hit him with his car to win this fight. That's the only way that don't even put $5 on underdog in this one. Keep your money. If you really want to, you could cash at me. I'll comment it in the comment section below this video.
The Cody Brundage donation fund. We will have a GoFundMe going.
It's called Sean Ryan Knows Actually What the Hell He's Doing versus you trying to put money on this underdog. So donate it to me. That's what I'm saying. So Bo Nickel by any goddamn way he wants in the first fucking round.
There you have it, Gage. How's Bo Nickel winning?
Just skip it. Go to the next one. We know.
Go to the next Moving right along.
What are we doing here, guys? Come on.
We got to talk about our guy Charlie Olives. We got to talk about Charles Oliveira fighting Arman Sarukian. This fight rocks. It's 155-pound action. It's the former champ, Charles Dubronx Oliveira, taking on Arman Sarukian. Sean, break this one down for us, man.
All right. Charles Oliveira, 34 wins, 9 losses, the most submission wins in UFC history, the most finishes in UFC history, versus Arman Sarukian, 21-3, fantastic record. I don't know where that third loss is because it was pre-UFC big time. His UFC debut at 22 years old was a 27-year-old Islam Makhachev, and he did lose 30-27, but one judge did have a 29-28, so he stood his ground against the soon-to-be crowned king. And then he's 8-2 in the UFC, and his other losses against Gamrot on the way up. It was, I think, 4 fights ago. Gamrot, he's no slouch. We all know it. He's no slouch. He's top 10, going to be top 5 for damn good reason. But if you look at who he's beaten in the top 15 in his career in the UFC, there's only one name, and that's Beneil Dariush. And Beneil Dariush is known for not beating anyone in the top 10 also. So it's a weird one. Beneil Dariush is fantastic, but he kept fighting cans. Arman's wins are against cans. They are not top 15 fighters. And you have him as a massive favorite against Charles Oliveira. That's insane. I understand his pressure wrestling is exactly what is Charles Oliveira's weakness. The pressure wrestling, getting on top, and he does have nasty ground and pound. Phenomenal ground and pound. But once again, this guy has a hittable chin. His weakness is a left hook. Guess what? Charles Oliveira throws better than 99% of the UFC. That damn left hook.
Ask Michael Chandler.
Ask Michael Chandler. Ask as many. Ask
Beneil too. You can ask Beneil too.
Yep. Listen to this stat. Charles Oliveira won 12 of his last 13 fights, and of those 12 wins, 11 of them were by finish. That's fighting championship fights and doing this. And Arman Sarukian, no offense to you, bud, you're out of your league on this one. If you win, I will eat my words, 100%. But this is the guarantee underdog pick for me. I'm 100% going Charles Oliveira. He's going to finish him. He's going to finish him quickly. Another first-round finish pick by me, Charles Oliveira.
I have a feeling we might be finding our dog of the night. Gage, who you got? Don't even need to ask.
If my name isn't clear enough, man, all the homies love Charles. Bro, what do you mean? There's one champ and his name is Charles Oliveira. Bro, it's... Take him down. Take him down. Go for it. Please.
Do it.
Please. If you haven't noticed, Charles loves pulling guard and being on his back. And guess what? He will pick you apart on bottom and submit you. That's what he does. He has the most finishes in UFC history for a reason. It's not going to be close. It is not. It's going to be under 1.5. Charles by submission. Because Armin, yeah, he's gonna pressure wrestle him. Charles has fought Islam. Charles has seen the best for pressure wrestling the UFC has to offer at the moment. If he can do that and see that and like have something to gauge it off of, cool. Take me down. Welcome to my game. Good luck. Turns out not gonna go out so well for you when you're in a rear naked choke, or you're getting Kimura'd, or your arms bent in a direction where, oh, I don't know how it's not broken yet. Charles by every which way.
There it is. Drew, round us out.
I'm going as far as lock and dog of the night. Charles.
Lock and dog of the night.
This is it. Once again, like we said, it's a no-brainer. This is very easily the lock dog of the card. Charles Oliveira is the former champ. The Dustin Poirier fight. Those are the two guys that I said are. How often do you see Charles Oliveira as the dog? How often do you see Dustin Poirier as the dog? Neither of those guys should ever be dogs. I'm going Charles Oliveira. Get it in quick. Get it while you can. If you parlay Oliveira and Prochaska, I'm going to just say if it's unanimous right now. Actually, as we speak, Charles Oliveira just dropped a plus 200, so even better. Right now, if you parlay both of those, that's a plus 545. You can't. Charles Oliveira at 200. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up. And I'm locking in with Charles as well. This is our dog of the night. The disrespect of plus 200 on Charles Oliveira makes no sense. Like the pressure wrestling, we've been saying it over and over. It is not going to go in Armin Sarukian's favor. It's playing right into Charles Oliveira's hands. I'm taking Charles Oliveira by a first round submission. Now, we've got nothing but 3 title fights left to talk about. I'm, of course, referring to the BMF belt. Justin Gaethje, the incumbent champion, taking on Max Blessed Holloway. We know these two. We love these two. This is one of those fights that everyone is just like, all right, this is gonna freaking rock. These two are going to put on a striking showcase. There is no doubt in my mind. This is not necessarily going to be like gentleman's agreement. We're not even going to attempt to shoot a takedown, although it could be, unless Max Holloway goes for one, which probably not. And unless Justin Gaethje goes for one, which probably not. This is going to be a straight up MMA Muay Thai boxing match, and I cannot freaking wait for it. Justin Gaethje, what more can we say about his leg kicks? What more can we say about his left hook? He's a weapon. He is an absolute weapon in the striking department, has some of the most vicious knockouts that you will ever see. He is called the highlight for a reason. 26 and 4, 20 knockouts, 9 of those in the first round. It's insane. It is absolutely ridiculous. You look on the other side of it, Max Blessed Holloway. We know he's the champion of he's the former champion of the world. 145-pound king. Some people's 145-pound goat. 25-7, 11 knockouts, 2 submissions, coming off of retiring the Korean Zombie and being the first to truly crack the chin of Chan Sung Jung. Max Holloway is unbelievable with his volume, and he will need it going up in weight at 155, especially against someone like Justin Gaethje, who is willing to take 2 to give you 1, because his 1 can turn the lights out. I've gone back and forth so many frickin' times on this. All I can say is I think there's a very real chance this goes to decision. There's a very real chance this is the fight of the night. And there's a very real chance Justin Gaethje is walking out with his hand raised via a split decision. I'm not so bold to say unanimous because Max Holloway's the best boxer in the UFC, baby. There's no like that. That's just facts. And then Justin Gaethje on the other side is going to land a lot of powerful strikes. They're going to look like they got into a street fight. They're going to look like they got into a car wreck. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I can't talk highly enough about this fight. Gage, who do you got for the BMF belt?
Can we just not have this fight? Like, I don't want either of these guys to lose. So
this is one of those, like, can we have a draw? Like, that's what I'll pick a draw.
Oh, I hate this. If you haven't noticed, if you've watched any of the other fight pit, real big Max Holloway guy. Real big Max Holloway guy. At 145, he only loses to Alexander Volkanovski. So we all know that. I really would like to see him fight Ilya Topuria while Volk's, recovering from brain damage for a year. So that would be cool to watch.
That hurts. So.
Don't worry, Kyle. We'll always have Land Down Under.
We'll always have Land Down Under. Can't forget about that. That's all we got.
So can't forget about that. It's just Justin Gaethje though. You're fighting Justin Gaethje at 155. At 155. Like if Justin had to make the weight cut to 145, different story. Way different story. I'm probably taking Max at 145. 155 though, I'm gonna go Justin Gaethje by fucking TKO.
Cracks Max Holloway's chin.
I don't think he puts Max out because no one will ever put Max out. But it's gonna be a stoppage.
Is it like a T. Ferg situation where Herb Dean's just like, listen, you're not out, but you're done?
Yeah. I think it's just Sean, you're muted by the way. It's just gonna be so much leg kick and just bombs being thrown. And like Max has probably the best jaw in the UFC right now. Like man's never been knocked down, let alone knocked out. But he hasn't been hit by Justin Gaethje at 155.
A literal freight train in Justin Gaethje. Sean, who you got for this one, man?
I'm gonna go round 4. By the way, it's gonna be late. It's gonna be real late.
Oh shit!
It's gonna be real late.
So I've been following these two guys on everything, YouTube, social medias, all everywhere to see what's going on prepping this because this is the people's main event. People wanted this to be the main event for a great reason. Like these are two warriors. Max Holloway made a statement saying gladiators don't walk up the scales. That's the truth. Like I don't even want these guys weight cutting. I just want them fighting. Simple as that. But Max Holloway is doing everything right. This man's putting on lean mass for 6 months. He knew he was getting this fight.
Looks massive right now.
He will be the bigger guy in the cage. How insane is that? Is he going to be bigger than Justin Gaethje? He's already taller. He's going to be the bigger man also.
Which makes it likely. Hold on, just cut you off. Makes me think, how is Max going to cut back down to 145?
I don't know if he goes back down, and I've been calling for this for a while. So. I've been calling for it for a while.
This is 155.
Bad weight. He's cut at around. Like, makes me think, what does Max sit at normally now? Like,
but he joked around and said he's lightweight Max Holloway because he said after eating and everything he was 205. I think right now I believe he's like 175 at this
easily.
Point. Like he's massive. He has a dietitian, nutritionist, and his wife is cooking some food. Like I'm seeing some of that Hawaiian meals he's made. He's loving every second of lightweight. He said after the Dustin Poirier fight, he was a fat featherweight. That's what happened in that fight. That's the only time he's fought at lightweight. He wanted to do it right. He is doing it right. In his speed and cardio and everything, he does not spar. If people didn't know, he doesn't spar anymore. He's been in enough fights. Max Holloway is working on speed work, conditioning work. He is running longer, harder, and faster in his bag work quicker than ever before with more weight on him. It legitimately seems like this is actually what Max Holloway should be doing. And that's crazy because some people consider him the featherweight GOAT. And my name is not the best is blessed for a reason. He has the uncrackable chin. The question is the leg kicks. Does the leg kick slow him down? That's the only time he ever slowed down in a fight was against Volkanovski, the third fight, when the leg kicks, it was like 37 or 38 leg kicks in the first 2 rounds, and he slowed down the last 3 rounds. If he can calm Justin Gaethje down with it, I'm going to go with Max Holloway, 4th round, TKO of Justin Gaethje, and new BMF belt title holder.
There you have it. 2 on Gaethje, 1 on Holloway.
I'm gonna switch it up. First of all, we had the fight pit. I can't in good conscience go against Max. I can't do it.
I can't.
I can't do it.
I'm locked in on Gaethje. I'm not wavering.
I'm switching. I can't go against Max. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Fuck it.
That's how it goes here,
True.
boys. That's how it goes, man. I totally understand. And this is me as well, 100%. I wish that I could Thanos snap this fight out of existence. I don't want this one to happen. I didn't like this one when they announced it. I agree that Max Holloway does look a lot better going into this one than he did in the previous ones. You remember he did the Poirier fight. Poirier fight was a little bit short notice. I don't think it was like technically a short notice fight, but it was like shorter notice than you know, we would have hoped. Right. And that one was for a belt. Okay. To keep in mind too, with Holloway, he stepped in on a day's notice to fight Khabib. That one was for a belt. And then this one is a full camp for a belt. The only times he's ever gone up to 155 or attempted to go up to 155 were for title matches. And that's for a reason, because Max Holloway is, unless your name is Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway should be the favorite. This one though, I just don't like it, man. I don't like it. I don't want this to happen.
Because you're gonna agree with me. Say it, because you're gonna agree with me.
I'm going with Gaethje.
Yeah.
I'm going with Gaethje. I'm going with Gaethje by a TKO. And I think that just Max Holloway is the toughest dude imaginable. And that's the same thing that we saw with Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson did not drop one bit at all. He didn't stop moving forward. He never gave up. You know, at the end when Tony Ferguson was stopped, it was, you know, he got caught real good on the nose and started trying to shake it out. The ref recognized it. It was a good call. I think that if Max Holloway is standing with Gaethje for long enough, it's going to be something similar. I think that the only way that this fight gets stopped is if Gaethje is able to get a standing TKO against him the way that he did against Ferguson. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Holloway wins. I hope that we have a new BMF champ. I hope that Holloway is able to continue making a run at 155. And, you know, if I don't see either of these guys losing stock, no matter which way that this fight goes. I think even if somebody ends up flatlined, I don't move them down the rankings. I don't take them out of contender status. I don't change anything at all based on this fight. This is just a purely off the fucking record, 100% fan favorite fight. I don't think that we change anything about anything, no matter how this fight goes. But, you know, Max Holloway is the same size. He's 5'11". He has a 69-inch reach to Justin Gaethje's 70-inch reach. So he's a lightweight. But that's one reason that I have never taken competing seriously, is because I hate weight cutting. I hate weight cutting with all my heart. I wish guys would just stop weight cutting altogether. And, you know, it speaks to the fact that, you know, Max Holloway is the same size as Justin Gaethje, but he's been fighting at 145 because weight cutting is just a thing that you have to do. And that's, you know, imagine someone like Sean O'Malley. If Sean O'Malley didn't cut weight, he would be fighting at lightweight. Can you imagine Sean O'Malley against Justin Gaethje? Like, who the hell stands a chance against Justin Gaethje at lightweight? You know, Max Holloway is not going to be cutting as much weight, and he's moving up, so he's going to be more at a comfortable weight class. Justin Gaethje, though, is cutting weight. He is going to be bigger in a sense. He's not going to be taller. He's not going to have much more reach advantage, but he's been at this weight. He's been here. He's comfortable at this weight. This isn't a new experience for him. So I think that he's going to be in there more comfortable. He's going to be doing what Justin Gaethje does, and he's going to TKO Max. It's going to be a standing TKO.
That's what Justin Gaethje be doing, man. And I'm right there with you. So listen, no matter what happens on this one, we're going to be happy with whoever wins. And we're going to be right of whoever wins. And that's what really counts at the
Also,
end of the day here.
Fight of the night, baby. Fight of the night.
Fight of the night. Yeah. Fight of the night.
Oscar fight a year. If it goes 5 rounds, fight it a year.
Early
year, 5
contender,
rounds.
1,000%. If it goes 5 rounds, it will be fight of the year because we know these two.
Oh.
These two are going to be amazing.
It's going to be violence.
If it goes 5 rounds, just call the rest of the card off.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, I would feel
God.
bad for the next couple fights.
Don't try to follow that up. Don't try it. But they're going to have to try and follow it up. And immediately after that fight, we have got the women's strawweight championship between Zhang Weili, the champion, and Yan Zhao Nan. This one, it feels too easy. It really does. It just feels too easy. Yan Zhao Nan is not a slouch. Don't get it twisted. Bringing in a 17-3 record, 8 knockouts, all in the first round. Like, she is very, very good with her hands. But on the other side of it, the champion Zhang Weili is nobody's fool on the feet. Don't even get it twisted. 24-3, only loses to champions. 11 knockouts, 8 submissions, 11 first round finishes, 5.94 significant strikes landed per minute. That is insane. And on the other side of it, Yan Zhao Nan takes some punches. I don't like her taking these punches against Zhang Weili. I'm going with Zhang Weili, and I'm going with a TKO. Later rounds, I'm going to go with a 4th round on this one, just because I am going to give some credit to Yan Zhao Nan's striking. She's going to be able to hang in there at least for a little while. But I think Zhang Weili is going to mix in some nice, grappling, get some ground and pound, maybe threaten a submission or two to just keep Yan Zhao Nan guessing, and that'll open up some great opportunities for overhands and really those, bread and butter punches that Zhang Weili has just starched people with. Gage, who you got in this one, brother?
Thank you for throwing it to me quick, because I'm going to keep it quick. Weili is going to level change, as you said. She's a threat either which way. Yan Zhao Nan, I think it's a little too early. I think it's a little too early for her. She hasn't become well-rounded enough. Not saying she doesn't have a chance, because again, no slouch. She has a very impressive record, has fought well. Just think it's a little too early for her. A little bit. So I'm going to have Weili 3rd round TKO.
There you go, Sean. Who you got?
I'm going 1st round submission. I'm staying aggressive with this shit. There's no doubt. The Zhang Weili, that last fight showed she is the best well-rounded mixed martial artist in all of women MMA currently. Like, if you watch Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Lemos, it was really tough to get takedowns against Amanda Lemos. You watch the fight with Zhang Weili, she made it look easy. Like, there was a couple submission attempts that were a little scary because Lemos is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So she does have it in her bag. Yan does not have that. By no means. She does not have that in her bag. Once it goes to the ground, it will stay on the ground and end. So Zhang Weili will get a 1st round submission. I do believe if they waited about another year for this fight, they could have done it in the 2nd ever China card. Imagine a Chinese fight card with these 2 Chinese fighters. It would have been amazing. So, yeah, we're going to go Zhang Weili 1st round submission.
There it is. Are we unanimous on this one, Drew?
We are, my good sir. It is Weili across the board. She is the former champ. She has been on an absolute tear. She is the best in the division, I feel. I think that they're going to match pressure. They're both going to be moving forward. I don't think that either of them is going to want to take a back step. I don't think either of them plans on taking a back step. I think they're both looking to be the pressure fighter. But I just see Weili being too devastating with the hands. I see Weili getting a TKO somewhere within the first 3 rounds. I don't anticipate it going anywhere near the end of the 3rd, but I think, if Zhao Nan is tough enough and she's able to outlast the early onslaught, I think it's going to catch up to her later on. I'm going with Weili.
There you have it. And it's hard not to see a plus 290 on Yan Jiaonan and sprinkle a little bit on there, but this is very much earned long odds. We made it, people. Main event, last one. Let's do it. 205-pound gold is on the line. We have the champion, Alex Pereira, taking on the former champion, never lost the belt, Jamal Hill. This fight is just, you know what you're getting. Blink and you'll miss it. Someone is getting knocked out. Alex Pereira, of course, bringing in a 9-2 record, 7 knockouts, 3 first-round finishes, already has a Hall of Fame resume at 9-2, which is ridiculous to think about. He has fought the very, very best of the middleweight and light heavyweight division already. On the other side of it, Jamal Hill, 12-1, 4-fight win streak, 7 knockouts, 4 first-round finishes, absolutely was on a tear before his championship reign was derailed by injury. This fight makes sense with Pereira coming off of a dominant performance over the former champion in Jiri Prochazka, so it was too perfect for these two to match up. However, it's not going to feel so perfect for Jamal Hill once Saturday night rolls around, because Alex Pereira is different. He is one of the best strikers we have ever seen in the UFC, period. Regardless of weight, regardless of era, he is unbelievable. And his power matches his technique. And once you have those two ingredients, it is a recipe for a lot of knockouts. And I see that going Alex Pereira's way in the second round. Not going to be a first round finish. I think Jamal Hill is going to be able to keep it in there for at least a little bit. But that power is just too much, man. I don't know if I'm alone on this one, because the line is really freaking close. Jamal Hill at plus 110, Alex Pereira at minus 130. Gage, who is walking out the light heavyweight champion of the world?
So if you watched our previous episode on who will end the year as champion in light heavyweight, I said Alex Pereira. And I will continue to double down on that. Poatan all day. I don't know how Jamal healed up from his injury. I think it's going to be a fun one. It is going to be a fun one to watch. But you don't know how hard Alex Pereira hits until you're there with him. And he hits hard. He hits hard. Watch watch DC take a leg kick from him. And DC not a fun time.
Nope. Nope. It reminded DC why he retired.
Yeah. So I'm going to go knockout, like straight sleep. Third round, no championship rounds in the main event. Poatan all day.
Yeah, I don't think main event goes to championship round. Sean, what about you, brother?
Well, I'm going to be different than you guys. We will not have a unanimous main event. Jamal Hills is going to upset, and I don't know why he's the underdog. I understand what you guys are saying, but Jamal Hill is a phenomenal, well-rounded mixed martial artist. He doesn't use his grappling. He's a defensive wrestler like Justin Gaethje is. You saw him against Glover Teixeira. He stuffed everything. Everything was stuffed. And he can use it offensively if he gets damage given to him, unless he gets knocked out cold. If that leg starts getting messed up, he will use it. He will have good size, just like Alex Pereira will. They're both massive men for the weight class. And then his ground and pound, he will be able to hurt him and possibly even put him out with ground and pound alone. But I think Jamal Hill will threaten the takedown, and it'll lower the hands of Alex Pereira, and we'll get a clean knockout. Sweet dreams, Jamal Hill is going to win in the second round KO. And
there you have it. Drew, finish us up, brother.
Oh, baby. This is a hell of a fucking fight, man. I mean, even though it's the one that we didn't expect, it's the one that we weren't necessarily looking forward to. It's a banger of a fight, and I'm glad that we get it. This one, I think, it's interesting because if I was going to give Jamal Hill an advantage in this division against most people, it would be a size advantage. His striking is very difficult to deal with, even for, dudes who outsize him like Johnny Walker. But that being said, Alex Pereira, Jamal Hill is 6'4", has a 79-inch reach advantage and fights southpaw. Alex Pereira is 6'4", 79-inch reach advantage, fights orthodox. So there's no size advantage for either man. There's no reach advantage for either man. This is just going to be a straight up banger of a fight against two dudes who are looking to prove something. They're looking to prove Pereira is looking to prove that he is the legitimate champ at light heavyweight, and Jamal Hill is looking to prove that he never should have had to relinquish the belt at all. We just saw Pereira fight against a champion coming back off an injury that relinquished the belt, and he was able to get a first round TKO. I think if you put Alex Pereira against Jamal Hill when he's the champion before he came off an injury, I think it's a lot closer of a fight. But this is, like we said for Yuri, this is a motherfucker of a comeback fight, fighting Alex Pereira for the belt as your first fight back off an injury. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That's something that it's a difficult out for anybody when you're healthy. It's a difficult out for anybody when you are, in the thick of it, when you've been dominant. And I'm going with Pereira. I'm going by TKO, and I got this one under 3 rounds.
There you have it, folks. UFC 300. Those are our picks. And listen, if you've been riding along with us, our record is looking very, very nice. Make sure you tune in to UFC 300.
And last thing before we get out of here. So we are unanimous that Gaethje and Holloway is the fight of the night pick, yes?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Who is our lock of the week?
Charles.
Lock of the week, Charles.
And underdog
Oliveira.
of the week.
And dog of the week, Charles.
All right. Charles Oliveira, officially, everybody, the Fight Pit lock and dog of the week.
There you have it. Make sure you are following the Fight Pit on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff, YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed to both the House Call and the Fight Pit channels. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening on the Fight Pit. Until the next time, that is Gage, that's Drew, that's Sean. My name is Kyle. Peace.